Okay, well, I think we'll get started then. Well, like I said, welcome everyone to our webinar this evening. And if you happen to be listening to the recording, then welcome to the recording. My name is Dr. Mayra Llado, and I'm calling in from San Juan, Puerto Rico. And I'm really excited to be on this webinar tonight with my dear friend, Jan Fraser. And Jan, I'm going to let you tell everyone where you're calling from, and then we can get going.
Wonderful. Well, Dr. Mayra, it's wonderful to hear your voice tonight and to hear also from Michelle and some of our callers. And we're so grateful that you're on the phone tonight. As Mayra said, my name is Jan, and I'm thrilled to be here with you because one of the biggest things that I believe is in my life purpose is to support women. So I'm very grateful to be on the phone tonight and do whatever I can for you as you're listening out there.
Excellent. Well, what we're going to present tonight is Living in Love, 5 Steps to Creating the Fun, Excitement, and Long-Lasting Love You Want to Experience in Your Life. And I don't know, I read that and I just smile because it just, to me, it kind of emulates what I feel my life is about. And I don't know about you, Jan, but at least I just feel completely embodied in that.
Yes. It's a wonderful thing, living in love.
Yes. So I just want to congratulate everyone for taking the time out of your busy schedule to either be here live with us or to actually be viewing this at a later time via the recording. During this bit of time we'll be together, both Jan and I want to share our experience to help you discover a few things. One is who the most important person in your life is and how that person can choose to be happy. Second, how to unearth and become aware of your greatest desires. Thirdly, how to attract the people that you want to have in your life. And how to go from where you find yourself right now to where you want to be. And especially this one, we truly want to inspire you this evening. And hopefully we will accomplish that by the end of our short time together. You're in the right place if you want more out of life. If you aren't excited every day when you get out of bed, if you want more fulfilling and long-lasting relationships, if you want to experience more fun and excitement on a daily basis, if you're open and ready to do things differently. And this one is really important because if you want to experience different things, you may want to consider doing things differently. Now, you're in the wrong place if you're looking for a magic pill. And unfortunately, a lot of people out there would love to just take a pill and poof, everything's perfect.
Oh, yes.
What I found, though, is actually it's in the journey that you truly become the person that you're meant to become. So the magic pill isn't really that magical after all. You're in the wrong place also if you think you depend on somebody else to make a change. If you're depending on other people to change so that your circumstances or your experiences changes, then this is not the place for you. And then finally, you're truly in the wrong place if you're not willing to go for it. So this is how this time together is going to go. First of all, we will be here for about an hour, and then we will make sure we have time for Q&A. If you have any questions, you can either write them down or as you think of them, there is a little place down in the control panel where you can type in your questions. And we wish that you not take notes of information, but rather notes of inspiration. So again, this is one of our main goals this evening, is to inspire you. Stick around till the end because you will know how you actually can get the recording of this and listen to it again and again in case there's anything you missed or you would like to listen to again or view again. Let's start with what's possible. And it truly is possible to wake up every morning with enthusiasm and gratitude towards the day ahead. I feel really blessed at where I'm at in my life right now, and this is me when I wake up in the morning. Jan, I don't know about you, but I just wake up with excitement and wonder and just truly in love with everything I do during my whole day.
I'm thrilled to wake up, Mayra. It's wonderful. It's wonderful to wake up. Yes, I'm thrilled, and I think when you're living your life purpose, and you do have people in your life that you love, then you're feeling very good.
Absolutely. And the other thing that's truly possible is to experience love and appreciation from your true soulmate. And I believe that I can speak for myself. I truly am in a place where that is true for me, and I feel really blessed again. And I know it can be true for any of you listening on the call. And also to be and do and live the life you've always dreamed of. Unfortunately, a lot of people think that somehow they need to be born in a special place or in a special family or under specific circumstances in order for this to happen for them. But the reality is they can change it and they have the control to do it. And it is truly possible to live in love with every aspect of your life. As I said, I truly feel in love with everything I do. It wasn't always that way though, but at this point where I'm at, this is how I'm living. Now let's talk about the problem, because we shared what's possible. The problem is most women are not living the life they had planned or hoped to live, and that's really a sad truth. And we'll talk a little bit more about why that might be. Most women also are chasing after the wrong things or problems. So we'll want to also address that. And here's that magic bullet again, or pill. Most women, and not only women, but people, as I mentioned, are just looking for that magic pill, bullet, or even person to solve things for them and to create or that experience they want for them. And all of these problems, what they lead to are overwhelm, anxiety, stress, financial worries, strained relationships, disappointment, among others. Jan, let's talk about some common ways that we sabotage ourselves. And if you identify with any of these, you could just raise your hand.
I'm sure I will.
So, fear of failure. I know that I've stopped myself many times because of fearing I would fail.
Yes, and playing small in life when we could play larger.
Absolutely. And avoiding, just when you know there's situations that if you address them or you confront them can mean a change for you, but instead we choose to avoid. Perfectionism. I'm super guilty of this one. Oh, I can't do that yet because it's not perfect. I still have to do this just perfectly.
Yes. Mayra, you're getting very close to home now.
Lack of action. Have you ever stopped yourself from actually doing the thing you want to do? Just like you're in inertia, just stuck.
Analysis paralysis.
Exactly. Oh my gosh, I've done that a lot. And then I've totally forgotten about the whole idea. It's like I've talked myself out of it.
Yes.
Settling is a biggie for me. I know that I recognized at one point that I was completely settling, and that was a big part of why I felt unfulfilled and just kind of lost. Overwhelm. Sometimes we overcommit ourselves, or simply we are looking at things, we're focusing on aspects that overwhelm us, and not stepping away a little bit to kind of look at, what does this really mean? So overwhelm, I know for a lot of women especially, can be a block, because we have so many roles that we have as mothers, as life partners, as teachers, as daughters, as sisters, as, oh my goodness, I mean, the list goes
Yes,
on and on and on.
because we're women and we want
Exactly.
to do it all.
Exactly. Procrastination, and this is kind of the cousin of lack of action, and it's just putting things off. Oh, I'll get to that tomorrow, and tomorrow comes, and then I'll get to that tomorrow. And I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where you are you're at the deadline, and it's like an hour away, and you're like, oh my gosh, I still haven't done that. And it's just so much pressure, and you know it's a way to sabotage ourselves.
Yes.
Oh, and I went back all the way. So besides some of these that we just went over, there's ignoring, fear of success, time management issues, and they're all kind of related. Lack of clarity. Lack of clarity is a biggie, and this is in a lot of different aspects. I mean, when you are unclear about what you're trying to do, it's almost like being adrift at sea with no, you're just at the mercy of the current, instead of having a clear path, and you are sailing with a particular direction. So lack of clarity is something that can really stop us from being what we want to be. Fear of rejection, I think this especially for us women is big, because we just want everyone to love us
Yes.
and accept us. And so because this might creep up in us, this fear of rejection, and we'd rather than not do the thing we want to do, or not ask for what we want, or not put ourselves out there.
Myra, these are so powerful in a negative way in our lives. I just remember wanting to find someone who would treasure me. And I kept looking for someone who would treasure me because there was a part of me that thought that I was worth treasuring. But I just wanted to find that person as well. First, I had to treasure me as a person, and then I could look for someone who might treasure me as well.
Good point. And Jan she's giving you a little hint there. Biggie, actually. And ignoring again is like avoiding. So these are a lot of common ways that we sabotage ourselves. And here's what we found that most women just want to be able to accomplish things that are important to you and also contribute to others. You just want to be happy. You just want to be in a meaningful and long-lasting, loving relationship. You just want to be understood by others. I love this one because we had a woman on our webinar, I believe it was last week, and we hadn't included this one, and she immediately typed it in the window like, oh, I just want to be understood by others. So we want to honor you for that, and we've included it in our list. Just want to have fun and excitement. And finally, just want to feel passion and fulfillment from everything you do. And if there's any one that's really important to you that does not fit in any of these we've mentioned, and you just want to type it in, I would love to just mention it. I'll just give a little bit in case somebody wants to type something in. Okay, good. Jan, it looks like we've gotten the essence of what our women want.
Yes, I think we have.
So you can actually have this and more. It's absolutely possible for you to create what you want instead of settling for the place you're at. First, we need to make a shift, though, and this is what we're going to talk about now, and these are in the steps. Now, before we go there, I do want to share a little bit about me. This is a picture of me on my wedding day. This is actually one of the happiest moments in my life. And this is my husband Antonio. We were on the beach, and we got married on August 8th, 2008. And I mentioned at the beginning of the call, this was not always that way, that I felt happy and I felt fulfilled and I was just waking up just ready to go, you know. For me, in 2004, I found myself in a place that if you had known me, you might have wanted to be me, actually. I From the outside, it seemed like my life was perfect. I had the perfect house. I was traveling the world. I had a successful business. I had the perfect man, the perfect car. I mean, it was just everything was perfect. Well, I woke up one morning and I looked in the mirror and I asked, as I saw the person looking back at me in the mirror, I asked, "Who are you?" And then I asked, "Whose life are you living?" And bam, I mean, it just hit me right between the eyes. That wasn't me. I wasn't living my life. I was living somebody else's life. Actually, it was as if I was in a movie playing the leading part in somebody else's life. That was where I found myself. And that day, that marked the day where I said, no more. I'm done. I am done settling. And I'm going to start to figure out, number one, who am I? Number two, what is it that I truly want? Number three, what is my purpose and what am I passionate about? Because it's definitely not what I'm doing now. And it didn't happen overnight. I have to be, it was a process. I had to go through some things, and we're going to touch on some of those here. But first, I want to let Jan share a little bit about her story. But I'll tell you what, when I acknowledged that I needed to work on me and that I was the most important person and that to go inside and figure things out, that started to unravel or reveal and set off a number of events that eventually led me to attract my soulmate, marry him, reinvent my business so I was doing something I was just unbelievably passionate about, meet incredibly positive and people that are loving and that add so much value to my life, including my partner here, Jan. And I continue to meet so many others on a daily basis. And so I really, truly want this for you who is listening on the call to be able to be in a place where you are so authentic in who you are, and your brilliance and greatness shines through in such a way that you attract everything you want into your life. Now, a little bit about Jan.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Myra. I love looking at this picture of you and Antonio. It is something out of a magazine. That would be a world famous magazine because that is a gorgeous photograph. And now, if you're looking at the webinar, you'll see me aside of a lovely lady who is a volunteer at a breast cancer walk in Santa Barbara, the Avon Walk. This is a tremendous thing for me to have started on these breast cancer walks when I was 60. And this was last year, I believe. I think as we make a difference in our life, by taking on things at times that we didn't think we could do. I certainly didn't think I could do this. Walk 39 miles in 2 days on my legs and nobody else's. And there were times that were difficult, but I believe ever since meeting Jack Canfield in 1998 and getting to know the transformational people that swim in his pool, and that is Dr. Mayra. I loved her when I met her, and many people on the call tonight. Lots of love coming out to you as well. It's been an amazing ride since 1998, and I've decided it's all about love and living in love, and that's why Mayra and I decided to present these teleseries and webinars, is to make a difference in your life. And yes, when I was 60, I met someone, even at Jack Canfield's. I met him there, and it was a miracle. He was attracted to me. I asked him, and I still ask him from time to time, what was it? What was it? He said he was magnetized to me, and I think that happens when we are living fully our lives, when we are so full of joy in our life purpose and what we're doing. And sometimes it's taking a risk, like walking 39 miles. But this lovely volunteer lady with the daisy in her hat, she'd just given me that pink ribbon that I'm wearing around my neck because it symbolizes that every 3 minutes a woman in the U.S. is stricken with breast cancer, and they get the diagnosis. And it just feels good to be doing something for someone else, and it's been a great source of joy for me. I I recommend that that experience, the Avon Walk, or anything that you really do for someone else, because I think it helps give you the joy that Mayra's talking about and that we want to share with you, because it is about living in love, making that conscious decision every day. And yes, I've found my soulmate, and I'm very happy living here in Bermuda. My sister calls me every week and she said, "Are you still happy? Are you still happy?" And I'm going on 6 years. Mayra and I, we didn't exactly know each other at the time, but she was married 888, and I was married July 4th in 2008. So with just a month apart, we were in that same year. We want to see all of you happy, living the life of your dreams. That's why we're on the call tonight. So Mayra, let's move on.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jan, for sharing.
Yes.
Well, the first thing that and at least I know that for me I did, and it was really to acknowledge the most important person in my life. And so for you, I suggest you want to do that as well. And if you haven't figured that out, that person is actually you. You are the most important person in your life, just like I am the most important person in my life. And that has to do with leading, becoming the leader of your life and taking 100% responsibility for it. And some of us that are familiar with Jack Canfield will recognize this principle, which the principle of taking 100% responsibility. It's about you forging on your path, not somebody else's, not after somebody else's dream or waiting for someone else to tell you where you need to go. You become the leader of your life. I just want to share real quick the formula or the equation that our mentor Jack Canfield shared with us from his mentor W. Clement Stone, which is E plus R equals L. And the E is representative of an event. The R is representing our response to the event. And together they create our experience or our outcome. So if you want to achieve different results, you may want to consider changing your responses. A lot of people actually focus on the events. And I don't know if you might have heard people that are complaining about the weather, the economy, their husband, their boss, their coworkers. Those are things that are completely out of their control. The only thing that's in their control is their response. And our responses have to do with our thoughts, the actions we take, our behaviors, the images we focus on. And I know, Jan, you have a great story about this. I want to let you share that. about taking responsibility.
Well, I think it's so important to take responsibility and make the tough decisions in our lives that are critical for us. And some events in our lives may not be good. And and yet our response is really going to determine that outcome. I always see events as opportunities for growth. And I know I've made some tough decisions. I was married in a former life to a brilliant person who was perhaps a little unbalanced. And one night he took a butcher knife out of the kitchen drawer, held it to his abdomen, and said, "I'm just going to end it all." My worry was our two girls, our little girls, were upstairs sleeping, and I wondered if he decides to turn that knife on me, how can I save the girls' lives? I decided that night to take 100% responsibility for my life, and the event was this crisis, and I said, "We need some therapy here." And he said he would not go unless I went with him. I said, "Okay, then we're all going to therapy." So we went for therapy for a while. And even after that time, I didn't get a really good, rock solid feeling. And I couldn't put the girls' lives in jeopardy like that. So I did move forward with a divorce. And in looking back, it was a wise decision. It was difficult at the time. Family members on his side came to me and said, "Why are you doing this? Does he have a woman?" I said, "I don't think so." "Is he a drunkard?" "No." "Then why are you breaking up the family?" And as hard as that was to do, I had to lead. I had to take 100% responsibility and make a difficult decision. It was a good one because Larry went on to marry someone and he was very happy for the rest of his life and just passed away a couple of years ago. So I was grateful. It was the right decision, but at the time it was difficult. So the event, my response, my outcome has been very positive from a difficult situation. So I know that some of us out listening to us tonight, we all have difficult decisions to make, but those events could be positive or negative, but it's how we treat them in our lives that's going to yield the positive outcome. Myra, back to you.
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing that, Jan. I just,
Yes.
every time I listen to that, it's like it's so intense and yet so real. And I know that it's a lot of people will appreciate you sharing it. So thank you again.
Thank you.
The second step is what we refer to as the shift, and it has to do with going within. And we've come up with this little formula, EW squared. And what that signifies is exploring within so you can express without. And a lot of times, and I think especially when we're girls and teenagers, we tend to be looking out a lot. What are people thinking? How do I look? What is going on within the outside? And we think that that is it, and that represents who we are, how our exterior might look. Or we go to other people outside of ourselves to gain worth or feel, validate ourselves through others. So exploring within is where we go inside and we really, truly step into our authenticity so that that begins to shine through on the outside. And one of the, I know we mentioned this in the webinar we did earlier this week, was the plastic surgeon Maxwell Maltz, who wrote the book Psycho-Cybernetics, and how interesting it was that he had women that would go to him, and how does it go, Jan? That they had.
Yes. Well, Myra, women would come to Dr. Maltz and they'd say they want something done. He looked at them and he couldn't imagine what it was that they wanted done. So it was fascinating that what we think that might be offensive to people looking on to us, he thought was lovely. And he couldn't imagine and was always wrong at what he thought was the reason that the woman had come to him. So there's a disconnect there somewhere,
Mm,
is just being exploring within and being happy inside so that we are not so affected by what the world is looking in or looking at us.
Yeah, and also I know he had the experience of even helping some of these women out with things that were obvious, and then they were obviously in quote unquote improved, with different surgeries of the face or whatnot. And because they had not changed in them within themselves, they still saw themselves as if they had never gone through the surgical procedure, which is so fascinating. So there has to be a match, and it starts inside. When you are aligned with who you truly are and your essence, it will be expressed on the outside, and that's when you'll be truly magnetic, like Jan mentioned that Ian was magnetized to her.
Oh dear. Yes. That's very sweet.
So step number 3 is to be clear about what you want. And we mentioned in our little list of things that stop us was lack of clarity. And so being clear about what you want is so important. If you think you want something, and then a lot of times this also needs to be about, what you want, not what you think you should want. Like, hopefully that's not confusing. But it's what you truly want versus what you think you should want or others think you should want. It's really getting clear about you, the true you, what it is that you want. And the way to do that is to inquire. And to inquire not only within yourself, you can ask others to help you with this if you need. So you could be either a friend or somebody you trust, or even a coach that could help you figure this part out. Just really be able to go and become clear about a number of things. Become clear about what you want in terms of your experience in life. Become clear about why you're here and what your true purpose is, because when you're aligned with that, it's like everything is, I don't know, everything is just in flow, and you just feel centered, and when you are in a place where you lack clarity or where you are not aligned with either who you are or your true purpose, it's when you get these weird feelings, or you may not even be able to pinpoint it, but it's like you feel a little bit off. So step number 4 is to honor you. This one is like a one dear to my heart, because I really identify with this part where we validate our values or really validate ourselves. I, for a long time, was not validating myself, but rather invalidating myself and allowing others to dictate what I would do, what I should do. We go back to that. I was kind of going outside instead of going inside and really being true to me. So it wasn't until I, number one, became aware and in touch with my values and what they really were, that I could be authentic. And that has to do with listening to your inner voice and not settling. And all of those things kind of came to a clash that day I mentioned when I was telling my story. And it was, I wasn't being authentic, and I was totally ignoring my inner voice the whole time. When I think back on it, I felt weird. I wasn't happy at times, but I ignored it because I kept telling myself, "Oh, this is going to change. Oh, it's okay. It's going to change." And every time I said it's okay, it's going to change, it was like I was just completely invalidating myself right there. Boom, just invalid. Your stuff is invalid. It's not important because you're allowing others to be valid. So that to me was a huge awareness. And I have to say, it's been like, this is my main GPS for me, are my values. And it's who I am. And when I first met Antonio, I remember our first date was, I guess it was like a 5 hour lunch or something like that. He asked me out for about 10 times and I kept saying no. And mainly because I still was in this situation in a different relationship, but I still hadn't figured out how I was going to get out of it. And, uh, and so I finally said, I can't go to the movies, but we can have lunch. And this lunch was 5 hours. And I'll tell you what, it was interesting because I said, I interrogated him basically. I asked him, I don't know how many questions about why he got divorced. And I knew he had kids, so I figured he must be divorced. And then he was telling me he was separated. And anyway, long story short, we decided to have a second date. And, and in the second date, it was different. I asked him, I said, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? And please tell me, what things are truly important to you that you really want to have in your life. And I know he was a little overwhelmed by that at first. And because he was not ready for me to ask that. Yet and I think in a way he didn't know how to answer it. And then I just said, okay, he just kind of said some general things. He was not clear at that point, but I was very clear. And so then I just said, well, this is what I want. And I just was very clear. I mean, this is where I see myself in 5 years. This is what I want to do. This is what I'm passionate about. These are things that are really important to me. And then when I was done, I said, I just want to say that if there's any of these things that you do not see, you do not agree with, or you just could not really see yourself involved in, then that's okay. I just need to know now, and we can just be friends. And and that might sound a little bit, I don't know what the word would be, harsh, but actually it was to, when I ask him, we talk about that a lot, and he says that to him that was like the most, like he was so impressed and he was so attracted to the fact that, man, she knows what she wants and she's not settling. I mean, that's it. And there was this one little thing that I said, and this is where it got really interesting. I said I wanted to be a mom. And so he says to me, after I said if there's anything you don't agree with, he says, well, no, I'm good with everything you said. There's just this little deal. I think you truly deserve to be a mother, and I think you'd be a great mother. That after I had my son, I did have a vasectomy performed, and so because I think you truly deserve to be a mother, I mean, I would be willing to have the reversal. So you can
Whoa.
imagine, to me, that was like, whoa.
What? No.
And he actually had this done before we were even married. So that was just like, okay.
He's he is devoted to you, Mayra.
Yes, so I just wanted to
Devoted.
share that because I know for me the one of the biggest things was this validation of really stepping in who I am and not budging. I mean, this is me, and that's it. And I'm really clear, and I validate myself every day. And I don't know. So to me, that's so powerful. And
That is very, very powerful. And I just wanted to share, I remember your story. You know how when you speak with women and you are around wonderful women as yourself and our ladies on this call, when someone shares a story, it triggers something in you or in someone on the call. And you just triggered something in me, Mayra, and I want to share it with
mm-hmm.
regards to not settling and validating your values. Is I do remember before I found my husband, or he found me, that I was dating this man and I was attracted to him, and everything going for him, everything I thought that was lining up with my values, but it just wasn't, it wasn't moving anywhere.
Mm.
And so I gave him an opportunity. It sounds like when you were talking with Antonio, I gave him an opportunity. I said, not to scare him, but I said, can you picture us being more than friends in 2 years, 5 years, or 10 years? Now, I was not going to wait 10 years, and I probably wouldn't have waited 5 years. But I had been dating him kind of off and on for, say, a year and a half. If he'd said 2 years, I might have said, okay, I think I can hang in here. But he said no. He said
Wow.
no. He could not see me as more than a friend in 2 years, 5 years, or 10 years. And I said, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve. Thank you so much uh, for releasing me. And I will release you. And that was a valuable question to ask him, because I did not want to be in a 10-year back and forth dating on a superficial level kind of person.
Mm-hmm.
And by just putting the question out there, and Myra, sometimes men can be scared. And so that's why I said 2 years, 5 years, or 10 years. So strange as it seems, once he found out down the road that I had gotten married, he was so upset. He got in touch with me and he said, why? Why did you get married? I said, you released me and I released you. So it wouldn't have been the right person for me.
No.
And somehow in my heart, I knew that I needed to just ask, because I think I was settling, because I was adding up all these things and they seemed to total up the right way. But for our ladies out there listening, sometimes it may look that way, but when put to the question, it's not going anywhere.
Yes. Wow. Thanks for sharing that. That's awesome.
You're welcome.
So let's go to step number 5, and we'll go back again to these things that stop us, and not necessarily all the things we mentioned would apply to everyone. So it's about discovering exactly what is unique to you, that is your maybe biggest block or biggest obstacle towards a fulfilling or really living in love with every aspect of your life. And these could be limiting beliefs or fears or negative thoughts. And there's a lot to this part of exploring, and it's not something that we necessarily can take care of, in an instant. It takes a little bit of time and work, but there are many techniques and many ways that we can consistently and eventually not only figure out what these are, but be able to eliminate them. Actually, first we need to embrace them, and then so we can eventually just eliminate them and replace them with empowering beliefs and more positive thoughts. In that way, where we can truly be in the full expression of our greatness. And it's like this iceberg we see here.
It's
A lot.
huge.
It's huge, yes. And see, most people are kind of living on the surface, right? And they're completely unaware of what is underneath, and that's where our fears live and our limiting beliefs. And a lot of times, even our deepest desires are hidden here because we have hidden them through people that we've come in contact with, through programming, and we just this somehow our inner child is lost somewhere in this big iceberg under the surface. And so what we want to do is release it and get it back up in the surface so we can truly be living in love with every aspect of our life, have more excitement, have more fun, become that person that we were meant to become, because that's truly when we will attract the person that we want to attract into our life. Not only your love or life partner, but everyone else that you want to have in your life, friends, business partners, uh, even in your family. I was talking to a young man that I coach earlier this evening, and it was so interesting. See, he's going through this transformation himself, and he says to me, he says, Myra, you know, I was really not that happy at work, and I've been thinking about quitting, but I have to tell you, people are changing. And then he said, and you know why I think they're changing? Because I've changed. And that was huge. My hairs are standing on end right now as I share this with you, because I thought, wow, what an awareness. And I felt so proud of him for actually acknowledging that, and just understanding that when he changes and he becomes more like the person he would like to be around, or the kind of people he would like to be around, the people around him actually could start to want to change and want to be more like him. It was amazing when he shared that with me, and I was just like, wow,
How
so
exciting.
cool. Yes, yes. So, we've shared a number of things tonight. We talked about the LIVE model, which is to lead, to inquire, to validate your values, and to explore, then embrace. Explore what limits you, embrace it, and then eliminate. And so when you come to the end of your life, you're really not going to care if you achieved your dream or not. The question that you will be asking yourself, though, is, did you go for it? And I hope that the answer is yes, you did. I know that for me, it will be yes, I did. And every day I just like go for it. So at this time, you have two choices. You can choose to go down same old street, do things the same, get the same results, or you can choose to go down the live and love way. Same old street again is just trying to deal with or cope with the same behaviors, your same type of responses, remaining in your comfort zone, and basically just having the same experience you might be having right now. And good luck. I don't know that I'd want to do that. Or you can choose to go down the live and love way and really roll up your sleeves, go for it, and really live that life that you're meant to live by clearing away these blocks, these beliefs, or these fears that are stopping you, so that then you can release the brakes and just truly live in love and freedom. Now, when you choose to go for it, and this is going down the live and love way, Jan and I can support you. And actually, we are really, 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 really excited about what we're going to be doing here in
Yes.
very short time. And it's the Live and Love Coaching Teleseries. We are starting this on September 30th. And gosh, I'm trying to figure out, I don't think I can copy that link. I can just type it in. I'll type it in a second. But what
Okay.
we're going to do is through this teleseries, we're going to take you through the whole model, but in 8 different calls. So starting on, actually, I think I have it in the next thing. Yeah, here we go. 8 weekly calls with both of us, 1 to 2 hours. We'll have handouts and exercises for you to really internalize what we are sharing and what we're actually doing together. We'll have a Facebook support group, which will be private. We will record all the sessions in case you're not able to make any of them. And as a bonus, at the end, we're going to have a one-on-one coaching call for everyone and for each, and then it'll be just individual. That has a $250 value. We'll have 3 group laser coaching calls, which we haven't scheduled yet. We'll just figure out when the best time might be during the program to schedule them. And we are also, as a bonus, have a credit towards a Live in Love weekend retreat. Well, we'll talk about that in just a second. Now, what we will be doing specifically and what you can expect is really to know how to be that leader in your life. Just lead that yourself. How to inquire within yourself, and together, not only you but with others, understand your truth and what is your destined path. how to validate yourself so that you're attracting the kind of people you want to attract into your life, and really truly learning that to embrace your journey and explore so you can eliminate all your blocks and evolve and express your true beauty and magnificent self that you are. So we are just very excited about this, and our it is our wish that as many people can participate. So we really wanted to make this very affordable for everyone, and instead of doing like where people would pay a lot of money for like one-on-one type of coaching, we wanted to make it a group program, and so we didn't want to price it at more than $100. So it's just $97 is the investment for this. And if you decide to go to one of the retreats, it would actually end up being free because you'd have a $97 credit towards the retreat. We're having one up and coming in Bermuda. And Jan, I'm going to let you talk about that here.
Okay. Well, Living in Love weekend retreat in Bermuda. I mean, it doesn't get any better, right? So we have a beautiful location, and we're very excited. We can take up to 20 women for the weekend, and it is November 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. November 1st is a Friday, and we'll have a VIP wine and cheese reception at my house in Bermuda, and love to see you there. And then Saturday is a day-long retreat day, starting at 9, probably finishing about 8 in the evening. And on Sunday, we're going to go, November 3rd, we're going to go from 9 in the morning to about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You're welcome to stay at the retreat itself, which is called the Spirit House. It's a beautiful place, very conducive to women feeling very comfortable and relaxed, and communicating, connecting with other women, and making new friends that you never thought were possible. So that is the Spirit House. It's beautiful. The tuition for the event, as Mayra said, we have really tried to keep everything so reasonable so that anyone would be able to come. And the retreat itself includes all the meals and the overnight accommodations, and it is $397. And if you sign up with a friend, the two of you, then the second person is 50% off. And so if you amortize that between the two of you, you can even come for less than $397. We just really want you to be here. So this is our Live and Love retreat. The benefits that you will have as a result of coming will be countless. You'll feel better about yourself. You'll have action plans for what you want to do for the near future or the future, and you will be able to wake up every day living in love. We will create that atmosphere at the Spirit House, and we welcome you to join us. If you're interested in the retreat, all you have to do is either email Mayra or myself, and we will get you signed up. And as Mayra mentioned, if you register for the retreat in Bermuda, then the teleseries is our gift to you. So that would be something that would be a wonderful gift to yourself, is to be with us on Monday nights. And if you're not able to be with us, of course, there will be a recording, and you can catch right up for the next week. And Mayra, we have a special incentive tonight, don't we?
Well, for those signing up before the 29th, we're offering a pre-coaching. So besides the one at the end, you'll have one beforehand that we can schedule anytime.
And this is a personal coaching call. So Mayra and I, and you could have it with either one of us, if you decide to jump into the teleseries at $97, you decide to do that, your gift will be a 1-hour coaching session with either Dr. Mayra or myself for your career, for your personal life, and our usual coaching fee per hour is $250. We've coached people on Skype with speaking, no matter where you are. Speaking, writing, any kind of career question, we're there for you. So I think it's exciting. We just want to make it so doable for people that they just can't resist. For women to jump into the teleseries, and if they do by the 29th,
Yes.
the 29th, then that will be your bonus gift. It's a 1-hour coaching with either one of us, and you can take it anytime this year. So that's a wonderful thing. Mayra, back to you.
Great. Well, thanks for the retreat description there, Jan. And the question is not what it's going to cost to take action, but rather, what is it going to cost to not take action? And we go back to those blockers and things that stop us, and it's lack of action, or just deciding to stay in our comfort zone and keep experiencing what we're currently experiencing and not evolving. Well, for the free recording, here's my email, and you will, if you register for tonight's webinar, you will automatically be receiving the recording. That was one of the messages we had sent out. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and open it up for questions on anything. If you have questions on what we covered tonight, on the retreat, on the teleseries, anything at all, or just want to make a comment, you can raise your hand and I will go ahead and unmute you. We'd love to hear from you. Okay, Jan,
I suppose we've answered everyone's question.
I think we've answered everyone's question. Excellent.
Thank you very much for being with us tonight. Love to everyone. Live in love.
Yes. Well, this is wonderful. Thank you, Jan.
Thank you, Dr. Mayra.
All right. Well, everyone have a wonderful evening. We look forward to having you join us during our teleseries coming up on September 30th. Thanks, and have a great evening.